and the airbag deployed. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Heating up out there through your afternoon. Lots of sunshine, highs of around 90. Tonight, fair lows upper 60s and near 70. For Friday, highs once again near 90. Can't rule out a spotty late shower or thunder shower, but most of us will stay dry. Continue dry for the weekend. Highs 88 to 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Soren Sheet, 12 Sheet to be all just 9-4.
Radio 92.7.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Action Sports Now. The Tennessee football team keeps adding to the trenches on the recruiting trail. 3-star defensive end Roman Harrison from Bainbridge, Georgia High School committed to Tennessee on Wednesday, giving UT 5 defensive linemen committed in the 2019 class. The Vols have 8 commitments on either the offensive or defensive lines. The 6'1", 235-pound Harrison is the second defensive end in the class and the 7th prospect from Georgia, and ranked as the 870th overall prospect and number 63 on the weak side defensive end position in the 2019 class, according to 247sports.com. He also held offers for Michigan State and Georgia Tech as well. Vols now have 15 commitments in the 2019 class and are ranked number 17 in that sports composite. Triple Crown winner Justify was retired from racing on Wednesday because of fluid in his left front ankle. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Action Sports Now.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nuga Radio.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Beautiful citizens in the city of Chattanooga. It's another beautiful day here filled with sunshine. And as always, I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall. From City Hall, can't leave out the police department, to the mayor's office. From the Valley Low to the mountaintop, giving you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to start off the show with a clip, and then I want to get right back to you, the listener.
Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle relentlessly to bring about some peace, because the people that we're asking for peace, they are going to...
You can jail the revolutionary, but you can't jail the revolution. Now, but today we're going to be talking about depression. But before that, I want to make a statement. And that is, a lot of times when we talk about uncomfortable situations here, not only in the city of Chattanooga, but when we talk about things at a state or even a national level, if it talks about anything that has to involve racism, police, or different things like that, or a combination of the two, I find that often many people don't have the ability to be objective. And let me say this. What you mistake as just an angry young Black woman is not anger, really, or just frustration. It is a simple fact that while I was a child, a young lady, my grandmother, who had nothing more than an 8th grade education, sat me down and talked to me about the reality of the South, where I live. And even though I was Black and beautiful, the world wouldn't always see me as that. That the world wouldn't always offer me the opportunities, no matter sometimes how smart I am, how beautiful she said I was, how much I achieved, or how hard I worked. As a matter of fact, the conversations that I had with this woman who was a survivor of Jim Crow, a survivor of a time where people of color were fighting to be treated as first-class citizens in this country. That is our history. That is our history, where we come from. And it's easy for people to sit back behind a keyboard and make statements. And all I'm asking people is just to think. Keep your options open. Open up your mind and see the world more than how you see it. But allow yourself to see the world as those who are often treated as second-class citizens continue to see the world. Because the reality is that my grandmother did not get to taste what freedom should have offered her in the 1930s when she was born, much until she was of age. She didn't get to go to the same schools. As a matter of fact, she did not get to finish school. She didn't get to go into the same grocery stores that a lot of you whose parents and grandparents spit on her, spit on my grandmother, my great aunt who went to TSU, got washed down the streets, just asking for America to consider them as first-class citizens. Instead of spitting on them in person, now you can spit on me behind a keyboard. And all I'm asking is for you to consider that I am not only asking for first-class citizenship for me and the people who look like me, but I'm also asking that this government treats you right, does right by you and your children, offers you and your children and grandchildren a beautiful opportunity, that it holds true to its promises that are in the Constitution, that it should give you life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if we were to ever be honest about the bloody catalog of America, how we got here and how, in a lot of ways, we change but remain the same, and especially here in the South, we would really see that we have a lot of opportunity to grow. We have a lot of room for growth. We have a lot of things that we have to change. And all I'm asking is you, my friend, my neighbor, the listener, whoever you are, a police officer, a teacher, a pastor, a homemaker, whoever you are, wherever you are, please just be objective. I'm fighting for you. I'm not just fighting for me. I sincerely want this world to be the best place for anybody to make it and to live in. Because if we are not collectively trying to achieve that, what are we fighting for? And I surmise that racism continues to be the greatest plague of America. Because instead of fighting a 1% that holds the wealth, controls the media and the power in this nation, I don't have to fight you. I don't care what you look like. I don't care who you marry. I don't care where you worship or if you don't. All I want for you and me is to be able to have peace in this society, for your children to go to good schools, leave them and go to good jobs, and we can hopefully work forward to making Chattanooga and other places across this country a great place to be. So let's talk about it, folks. 800-8949, 800-8949. Today, we're going to talk about depression. Depression. And if you want to call and talk to me, if you're going through depression, if you've overcome depression, if you even think that you feel depressed, I want you to give me a call, 800-8949. Because depression is real. And for us that are here in the Bible Belt, unfortunately, I find that the way to get over depression is to pretend like it doesn't exist. The way to get over depression is to church yourself to death. But a lot of times, especially when it comes to depression, and then when we just talk overall about mental health, we have not really removed the stigma around depression and mental health. When it comes to police, We have not really trained police to be able to identify and recognize people who are struggling with depression or other various levels of mental health problems. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But today I wanted to focus on dispelling some myths, hopefully offering some clarity to people who are going through depression and people who are struggling here in the city of Chattanooga to overcome depression, and hopefully be a breath of fresh air for you that you could hopefully make it through your depression. So in 2016, my grandmother passed away. Here in the South, family is probably one of the most beautiful things that we have here in the South. The way we've structured family. If you're like me, you probably grew up with your cousins, probably as close as your brothers and sisters. If you're like me, your grandparents were probably there as much as your parents, sometimes even more. I find myself considerably fortunate to have been able to come up with my cousins and my grandmothers. But in 2016, I lost my last living grandmother. And I went through a very, very long period of depression because unfortunately, you are prepared for life in some ways, but we really don't prepare for death. We really aren't prepared for the changes that life brings. We really aren't prepared for the good changes, the bad changes. Sometimes change hits us like a ton of bricks. We never saw it coming. And let me clarify one thing. It's not often the bad that happens to us that can create depression. Sometimes it's good change that can create depression. Sometimes it's the excitement of getting married, but fearing that you might not be the best wife or the best husband. Maybe you aren't going to be the best father or mother that you thought that you were going to be. Sometimes it's the new job that you've always wanted and you finally got it. You interviewed and you got it. But then you get there and maybe you don't think that you're qualified even after you got it. Maybe you don't think that you're going to be able to impact change where you are, and you become depressed. So the first thing I want to say is that depression can happen to us all, no matter what happens to us in life, good or bad, seen and unseen. And you are not alone. Whoever's listening, my friend, my neighbor, you're not alone. Depression doesn't happen to the worst of us in society. It happens to a lot of us. As a matter of fact, depression is one of the leading causes of disease overall. And despite what some people say about depression, depression is not just a mind thing. For some of us, it's chemical imbalance, and medication is the way to help us through depression. But for a lot of us, we just need someone to talk to. We need a professional who can help us unpack life, because life is what happens to us all. There's no way to properly prepare for life. We have parents and people who raise us to be the best possible, but we're raised by imperfect people in an imperfect society. And we go to jobs that are very, very fast paced and extremely demanding. Society is really demanding at this point in time. It's not as simple as it used to be. And I'm sure somebody out there said, amen. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But depression is not, it is not, I've heard people say that depression is not of God. What? Depression is something that can happen to each and every one of us. And I think one of the main ways that we could get past and overcome depression is just to find somebody neutral. Now, when I say neutral, what that means is finding, first of all, a professional, somebody who hopefully went to school for this. Now, you can do that with somebody who just went to college. There are some people who talk to you about depression that may be professionals who are faith-based. It's totally up to you. There are resources out there, and definitely there are resources here within the city of Chattanooga, places that you can go and professionals that you could talk to. And heck, even if you want to, you could talk to your pastor. But I believe a lot of you guys out there need to just talk to somebody. Start unpacking how you feel. What's going on in that space, in that head of yours, that beautiful mind of yours. Because a lot of times people just see frustration, anger. People see the outward shell that's just a symptom of what we're going through on the inside. And I'm just being real. You know, I've been hitting it very, very hard about other issues, but I wanted to talk about something close to my heart today. Because I believe a lot of people out there are really, really suffering. I believe that. I believe that there are a lot of people who don't feel that they could get back to the place where they were. And so I wanted to dedicate my show today to anybody who's struggling with depression. This is for you. So besides talking to a professional about it, now I believe in unorthodox ways of getting through things. Has anybody ever tried yoga? Now, I love yoga. It's really, really hard. Yoga is really, really hard, but it is exhilarating. And I think a lot of us, because we live in a very fast-paced society, we don't have people that really train us to slow down, to be calm, to resonate with the inside, to channel our inner self, and to be still. As a matter of fact, I remember the first time I did yoga, like in public instead of like in my home. And it was a struggle because the teacher was saying, you know, to center yourself and to ignore everything that's going on around you. Now, granted, this was happening at a park. This was happening downtown at the park. And it's dogs barking. It's people walking. It's cars going by. You see people out on the river, paddle boarding. It's a lot of things going on. And it was hard. It was hard for me to be still in that moment and to really, really tune out all of the things that were going on around me. I believe a lot of us struggle with just being still, not having any TV, music, no social media, putting the phone away. And really just channeling and acknowledging what's going on in the inside, no matter what that looks like. If it's, I am upset, I'm releasing that. If I'm worried about something, I'm anxious, I'm releasing that. You know, I'm thinking about that and asking myself, why am I there? What's deeper than that? Yoga. You know, there's so many things that we could do. I believe that for a lot of us, we need to just forgive ourselves and realize that life does not always go according to plan, for the good and the bad, and even the absolute ugly. I believe that a lot of us are holding ourselves to unrealistic standards, that we have to be perfect. We can't fail. We can't drop a ball. We can't make a mistake. Because what will people say? What will they say about me? You know, we live in a society that's driven by social media. And so, unfortunately, especially for those people out there who are on social media, unfortunately, when you put your life out there, everybody's not praising you for what you're doing. There are a lot of people who are just connected to you who just want to scrutinize what you do. And no matter how well you do, how far you go, someone is always going to have something to say about it. I think a lot of us internally hold ourselves to ridiculous standards. You got to go to school. You got to go to college. You got to graduate summa cum laude. If you don't, how dare you? You got to be a doctor. You got to have the fancy car. You got to have the biggest house. You better get the nice job. You better find you a husband. You better get married before you have children. You better get them christened. Y'all know what I'm talking about. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But come on, I have aunts. Now, I've been depressed because I'm 30 years old and I saw myself being married and having children by now. And I'm being real with y'all because I don't mind, as Nikki Giovanni says, going naked. I don't mind going naked because I'm over people. They can't do nothing to me. They ain't got nowhere to put me. And even if they kill me, they couldn't eat me. But I saw myself by 30 at this point, like legitimately taking over the world. And I'm not married yet. I have yet to have my first child. And I'm telling you, every time I go to a family barbecue or every time I'm going to a family event, I'm telling you, just about every time, my aunts are asking me, when you and so-and-so gonna get married? Are y'all still together? You know, my mom is ready to be a grandmother. Shout out to my mom. She gonna have to wait though. You know, for a while, she still says she's ready to have grandchildren. And I'm sorry, Mom, I can't help you with that. I mean, I could, but these are sometimes, you know, society has some crazy standards that we really hold ourselves to. And I think a lot of us slip into depression because we're afraid to be who we are. We have not embraced our ugly. Some of us are crazy. We have not embraced our uniqueness. We have not embraced our difference, our struggles. We have not embraced our shame, what has happened to us. We have not embraced even what people have said about us and realized that if you woke up this morning, you're already a conqueror. You're already somebody. You're already destined for greatness. And I don't believe that any person, any institution, or anybody validates who you are. I believe your validation came at birth by the fact that you made it here. And if you're still living, you're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. And I think that's probably the biggest thing to see is that you're here. You made it over everything that you've already been through. And I believe that for you, the greatest lies ahead of you. I believe that your latter shall be greater than your past. I believe that for you, you can overcome anything that you've already been through. Y'all stay tuned for the second half of the segment of the Marie Mott Show. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. And guess what? It ain't nothing you can do about that.
Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle.
Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Road crews have begun work today on Signal Mountain Boulevard to make permanent repairs to an area of U.S. Highway 127 that has shown signs of instability, according to the Tennessee Department of Transportation. During the repairs, the road will be reduced to one lane. Traffic will be controlled with a temporary signal. The project is expected to take 8 weeks, and you can expect traffic delays. A car and a motorcycle collide in Marion County on Highway 27 near Suck Creek Mountain. Reports say one person was killed. Lieutenant John Harmon telling WDEF the victim will be ID'd when the next of kin is notified. And a 15-year-old girl has gone missing in Catoosa County. Cheyenne Hicks has blonde hair, blue eyes, is 5'6", roughly 115 pounds. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of Cheyenne Hicks is asked to call 911 or contact the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office. Val St. John for Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7 Action News Now.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. But if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio. 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins. Are you tired of making 1% on your investments with the banks? Even 2 or 3% at best? Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins.
Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road. Chattanooga weather.
Heating up out there through your afternoon. Lots of sunshine, highs of around 90 tonight. Fair lows upper 60s and near 70. For Friday, highs once again near 90. Can't rule out a spotty late shower or thunder shower, but most of us will stay dry. Continue dry for the weekend. Highs 88 to 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Soren Sheen, Qual Sheep with your all shit night report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Oh, we're back for the second half of the segment on the Marie Mott Show, and we're talking about depression today. You know what? I love you guys out there. There are a lot of people who enjoy the show, and I stated that I've kind of been going really, really hard talking about the police department, talking about city council and everything, but I wanted to shift it up, and I hope my mom catches this because I've been talking to my mom about some of the things going on, because of course when you stand up and you speak to the status quo, you get haters that come out of the woodworks, you get threats. I've been threatened, my safety has been threatened, and a lot of times we get closed-minded when we talk about conversations. I expected that the same closed-minded conversations that we have about police and everything like that, I wanted to shift that and make sure that when we talk about community issues and different things, and today we're highlighting depression, that we don't have a closed-minded view to depression. And this is important. I believe this show today is extremely important. I believe it's more important than a lot of what you hear on the radio, a lot of what you see on television, because there's a lot of people who are struggling with depression. And for a fact, I know a lot of children who are struggling with depression. And I believe until we as a society start busting myths, breaking down stigmas and walls, that we're not going to overcome a lot of the things that we go through. And for me, it's so important that our society don't just look good. People don't look good. I know you, as I see you, you're just a shell. But everything on the inside is really who you are. And I believe a lot of people are struggling in their spirit, their soul. I believe people are at war in the mind about what they're going through. And I don't believe in a lot of instances, and especially here in the South, where we're in the Bible Belt, in the most church city in America, that we have created safe spaces for people to acknowledge their mental health issues and how they feel. I know for a fact, and like I said, I hope my mom is listening, because she said, baby, you can't keep hitting them hard. Talk about some real things. Talk about some real things that speak to the people. I am a people person. I fight for the people. I love the people. I love you, the listener. Whether you agree with me or not, that's okay. You're still my neighbor. Whether you like my show or not, you are still my countryman. And I'm fighting for you, whether you realize it or not. And, sometimes I've handed you some bitter things, but today I wanted to give you some honey. So you won't think I'm just here to bash people over the head. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to have some real conversations because I'm concerned about my city and I'm concerned about the people in it. I'm concerned about you, the listener. I know some of you who are listening today are probably going to work, maybe on your lunch break. And you're saying, man, I know I'm depressed. I know I'm going through something. And maybe, I don't have anywhere that I can go. Maybe I haven't tried to find somebody to talk to. Maybe I haven't reached out. And you know what? That's okay. A lot of people will shame you. A lot of people have feel like depression makes you a lazy individual. They feel like depression is all about self-pity or weakness. I don't believe that. It is a medical condition. Let me repeat that again. Just like someone says that you have bronchitis or you have the flu, a diagnosis of depression is the exact same thing. It is a respectable, let me say that one more time. It is a respectable medical diagnosis that a lot of people and a lot of children are going through. I remember talking to my mom after my grandmother passed away, because my grandmother was instrumental in raising me just as much as my parents. I spent so much time with both of my grandmothers that losing my grandmother was like losing the glue that oftentimes, your matriarch or the patriarch of your family holds everything together. And sometimes when certain people in family die, it exposes all the things that you never really noticed before. Sometimes family keeps the peace because certain people are here. Sometimes family doesn't talk about things because certain people are here. But my grandmother was so important to me. I could talk to my grandmother about anything. I could talk to my grandmother about having sex. I could talk to my grandmother about where I was in life, how I felt, and she would listen to me. A lot of people, that's the majority of what people need. They just need somebody to listen, not offer any advice, not cut them off. I'm guilty of that. God forgive me. I am. I need to work better at being a listener. I know a lot of people out there, especially when you're a parent, some of you could benefit from, instead of always seeing your daughter, I know because we as women, we get double stigmatized because everything is just an emotional response. We're not people sometimes in this society. I believe a lot of you parents out there, instead of thinking that what's going on is just a behavioral issue with your child, you could benefit from just asking them a simple question. Are you depressed? Baby, are you depressed? Talk to me. 800-8949, 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me about if you're going through depression, come and talk to me. If you have overcome depression and you want to talk about what that looks like, please call in and talk to me, because a lot of people could benefit from anyone out there. Don't be afraid. We're all family here. I believe that the talks that I have are just like discussions that should happen over family dinner. It's just a conversation. But I believe there are a lot of people out there who are working through depression, maybe don't know where to go, who to talk to. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do at the end of the show is give out some resources. But a lot of you out there need to listen. Look beyond the surface because it's usually deeper than that. You know, I believe that if a child is having an outburst, there's a reason deeper than the outburst. I believe that if a teenager is struggling and their grades are slipping, I don't believe that the majority of them just stop being good students or don't want to go to college. I believe that they are possibly being bullied. We live in social media where bullying is not only easy, it can happen at the snap of your fingers. We live in a society where it's so easy for pictures and different things to circulate legitimately in seconds. Folks, we have to have some real conversations. And that's what my show is all about. Depression is real. It's very, very real. One of the things that I hear a lot as well, because I came from a insurance background. I did about 6 years at Cigna, split between Cigna Commercial and Cigna HealthSpring, which is Medicare. And I did not really work with the behavioral side. But one of the things that I would do when I would talk to medical professionals, because I was not in customer service, I actually worked with medical professionals. Sometimes I saw how difficult it was or how long of a process for some plans and different things for people to actually be able to even get coverage or be able to get help for their depression or whatever other mental issues that they're going through. And why is that? Because our society believes that people just need to go get over it. That if you're going through anything emotional or mental, you are just being a wimp. And I don't believe that. You know what? I believe that we are just products of a crazy world and a crazy society, and that we're all just trying to figure out how to make it, how to make our way through. And so I wanted to take the show to really give a voice. Hopefully I will have somebody call in and we can talk about it. And I could really ask questions. Again, 800-8949, 800-8949. If you're a professional and maybe are listening to this, give me a call. Because I have a lot of questions that I would love to ask a professional about how we can do better at ensuring that we are encouraging people to work through their depression in a very, very good way. Because if we have not noticed that in our lifetime, we have seen more and more people commit suicide. Why do people commit suicide? Because they don't feel like there's any hope for them. And depression, if it goes on too long, that's one of the things that often happens is suicidal tendencies. Because people are not really trained to identify what goes on. And then we live in a society where it's either you're a loser or a champion. You're not a person. We're all just people, hopefully finding our way through this thing that we call life. Folks out there, again, it's 800-8949, 800-8949. Please call in and talk to me if you would like, if you're a professional, if you're just a patient. Again, it's not easy in this society to come forward with saying that I'm depressed. I remember when my mother, because I grew up in a very a Pentecostal background. This is the South, and this is the Bible Belt, and this is the most church city in America. So I grew up in a Pentecostal background. I grew up in a background where you went to church the majority of the week. And I remember when my mother, I don't know what she was going through at the time because I was a little girl, but I remember talking to my mom as an adult. And one of the things that she told me was that she went to church and she acknowledged out loud. I couldn't imagine how much strength and courage that actually took for her to do that. But she acknowledged out loud in church that she was depressed. And I'm sure anybody of the Pentecostal persuasion, or maybe anybody who just has any experience with church sometimes, it wasn't a situation where she was just offered help, more or less. It was a situation where it was just stigmatized. And, and especially when you talk about communities of color, when you talk about the Black community, it's almost a double stigma about a lot of things. Black people don't get depressed. What do you mean? Anybody can get depressed. Like, we really need to have this conversation. Anybody can get depressed. The richest person in the world can get depressed. The poorest person too. Anybody of color. It's not based on genetics. There's no data that really supports that. I believe that a lot of people, and I could be wrong, but I believe that a lot of people go through depression simply because of life circumstances, good or bad or ugly. I believe that a lot of us are just struggling, again, to make it through life. And talking is what makes it better. It's not what makes it worse. I believe that we have silenced the voice of victims in a lot of areas, from rape to molestation, to depression, to bipolar, manic depressive. We have silenced a lot of people because we don't want to have these conversations. Because I believe the more we have conversations about the things that ail us in society, the more it forces us to have to change. And maybe we have to change what we think about depression. Maybe we have to change what we think about people who are depressed and how we approach depression. Maybe we need to start from scratch in some areas. Maybe that would beg us to question, why doesn't the church now, and I'm not saying that for a particular a particular part of the church, whether it's Catholic, Islam, for the synagogue, whether it's Baptist, AME, Presbyterian, it doesn't matter. Why doesn't the church really have a mental health section or sector? And especially for the most church city in America, I believe that if we couldn't find a lot of areas, because a lot of people in this city go to church, I believe that the church should really take up a banner of really trying to either partner with professionals, or either asking professionals to give them material to pass out, asking professionals to come and hold a seminar, asking professionals to give their opinion on how do we even acknowledge what what depression looks like. How do we identify that? How do we encourage people to not be afraid to get help? And more than all, what about for the people whose maybe insurance plans don't cover any mental health benefits? How are we offering any services to those people here in the city of Chattanooga to be able to come and maybe get those services at a heavy discount or for free? Some things to think about, some things that I really want to challenge you, the listener, about. I want you to think about that. So the next time, your son comes in and slams the door and throws his book bag across the room, and maybe you're seeing consistent outbursts or things like that, you may need to sit him down instead of just automatically putting him on punishment or making him mow the grass for a month. Maybe ask him, son, are you depressed? Are you being bullied at school? What are you going through? What's going on in that head of yours? Talk to me. I really believe that's where I believe all things can start, is with a conversation. And I believe that a lot of us need to do more listening than we do talking. Guilty, and I'm talking to myself when I say that. I believe a lot of us need to do more listening because we got twice as many ears as we do mouths. We need to do more listening than we do talking, and really, really try to understand what people are going through. And then after people have vented to us, talked to us, asked us, we've asked them how they feel. Then the next step is, how can I help you? Y'all hear that? How can I help you? I love when people ask me questions like that, because that means they're really concerned about me. How can I help you? So, do you need somebody to talk to besides me? Because, of course, as a parent or as a husband or a wife or just a friend or a sister or a brother, there's a lot of things that we don't know. And for some people, they need to be on medication. And that is okay. Let me say that again. That is okay. Because depression is a medical diagnosis. It is not something that we just put people into a category of wimps or losers. That's not what people are. They're just people who are struggling. That's all. That's just somebody who's struggling. And for some people, medication is enough to help them get back in balance with life. For some people, it is a chemical imbalance. And if you don't believe me, just do the research, folks. For some people, it is a chemical imbalance. But for some people, medication may not be the option, or medication may not be enough. For some people, it's just they may not need to talk to somebody every day or every other day or every week. They might just need somebody to check in with them every month, every 3 months, and say, hey, how you doing? How's the medicine working for you? You know, how's work going? How's life treating you? And they just may need that one session every 3 months or every month or every other week. So for everybody, this pathway is not the same. But I believe that the solution that we can get to starts the same way. And that's by us having conversations and not being condescending to people about what they're going through, or believing that they should just need to snap out of it, or they need to run around the church 3 times. Again, I'm Pentecostal. That they need to just put some oil on their head, Hail Mary 3 times. I don't know what people in some other religions do. Again, I'm Pentecostal, but and that solves the problem. No, ma'am, no, sir. That does not work. We need to talk. And I believe that as countrymen, as neighbors, as friends, and as family, we should be able to do that. And I believe that once we do that, we can really start solving a lot of our problems. If you are struggling with suicide, I love you. And I want you to hang in there with me. If you need somebody to talk to, call 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And if you're struggling with depression and you want to talk to a support group, 800-826-3632. Again, that's 800-826-3632. Now for suicide prevention crisis hotline, that is 800-784-2433. 800-784-2433. And for suicide prevention for depression hotline, that is 630-482-9696. Again, that is 630-482-9696. Hang in there with me, folks. Life does get better. I love you guys. It absolutely isn't a thing that you can do about it. And guess what? Your life does have purpose. I want you to hang on and be the best that you absolutely can be. And if ever you need any help, don't be afraid to reach out to me on social media by Marie Mott. I'd be more than glad to get in touch with you and help you.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Road crews have begun work today on Signal Mountain Boulevard to make permanent repairs to an area of U.S. Highway 127 that has shown signs of instability, according to the Tennessee Department of Transportation.